You sit down after a long day and your dog follows. They collapse onto the rug near your feet, stretch out their front paws, and let out a long, slow, dramatic sigh. It sounds exactly like a human teenager who has just been asked to clean their room, followed by a soft closure of their eyes. When we hear this sound, we cannot help but interpret it through a human lens. We think they are feeling bored, annoyed, or perhaps just copying our own dramatic breathing habits. But canine science tells us this deep breath is much more than simple mimicry. To understand why dogs sigh, we have to look past human emotions and explore canine physiology and cognitive science. We need to examine how their breathing influences their brain, and here to guide us through this science is Sherlock. A canine sigh is a fascinating dual-action tool. Physically, it is a biological mechanism that helps keep their lungs functioning perfectly. Emotionally, it acts as a transition signal, a physical punctuation mark that shows a shift in their mental state. Because a sigh can mean different things, we must learn to read the context. By watching their eyes, their posture, and their surroundings, we can decode exactly what message they are sending. The sigh is a direct, accessible window into their immediate emotional experience. Before we look at emotions, we must understand the biology of the breath. Just like humans, dogs sigh as a natural, involuntary response to the physical state of their lungs, serving as a vital physiological reset. Deep inside a dog's lungs are millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. During normal, shallow breathing, these tiny sacs can slowly collapse and lose their shape. A sigh, defined as a double-volume breath, reinflates these collapsed sacs, restoring optimal surface area for oxygen exchange. Physiologists call the sigh a respiratory reset. It directly influences the autonomic nervous system. A deep exhalation stimulates the vagus nerve, sending a physical signal to the brain to lower the heart rate and reduce physiological stress levels instantly. This physical reset matches a mental transition. When a dog sighs, they are physically letting go of whatever state they were in. It is a breathing transition that helps them move from alert concentration to rest or from frustration to acceptance. Because the physical act of sighing is so closely linked to mental transitions, the emotion behind it depends entirely on what the dog was doing just before the breath. The physical reset is the same, but the emotional meaning shifts. The most common sigh owners witness is the sigh of contentment. This occurs when a dog feels safe, secure, and ready to rest. It is their way of declaring that their immediate world is safe and they can finally let down their guard. The key identifier for a contentment sigh is the state of the eyes. When a dog plops down, lets out a sigh, and their eyes are soft, half-closed, or fully shut, it means they are transitioning into a state of deep relaxation. They are letting go of all tension. This sigh is only possible when a dog's environment supports safety. Because resting leaves a canine vulnerable, they will only sigh and close their eyes when they trust their surroundings completely, making this sound a high compliment to their human handlers. You will often hear this sigh after a walk, a training session, or a game of fetch. Once the excitement ends and they settle back into the house, the sigh marks the physical end of the activity, telling their body that the work is done and it is time to recover. Ultimately, the contentment sigh is about peace. It is the canine equivalent of a human taking off tight shoes and sinking into a soft sofa. It is a physical release of tension that allows their mind to slide quietly into a restorative sleep. However, not all sighs are peaceful. Sometimes a dog sighs because they are experiencing frustrated anticipation. This is the sigh of disappointment, and it sounds identical but looks completely different in body language. The primary visual cue for a disappointment sigh is the eyes. If your dog lets out a deep sigh while staring directly at you with wide, open eyes, they are not relaxing. They are signaling that they want something, a treat, a walk, or attention, and have realized it is not coming. Canine behaviorists call this active waiting. The dog has been hoping for an action, and their body has been primed with alert anticipation. When they realize the action is delayed or canceled, they use the sigh to physically reset their frustrated nervous system. Disappointment sighs are often louder and more vocalized. They may contain a slight grunt or huff at the beginning or end. It is a physical expression of exasperation telling you, "I've been waiting for 20 minutes and you are still staring at that screen." Fortunately, this sigh also helps them process the letdown. Once the sigh is released, they often accept the situation, settle down, and find something else to do. The physical reset helps them let go of their active anticipation and move on. As handlers, learning to differentiate these sighs helps us respond more effectively to our dogs. By following a structured decoding blueprint, we can build a walking and home routine that supports their emotional health. First, look at the eyes. If the eyes are soft, blinking slowly, or fully closed during the sigh, ignore them and let them rest. If the eyes are wide open, staring at you or tracking your movements, they are asking for engagement. Second, look at the posture. A content dog will lie flat, display relaxed ears, and have a loose body. A disappointed or demanding dog will sit upright, keep their ears alertly forward, and display physical tension, waiting for a cue. Third, check the timing. If the sigh happens right after dinner or a long walk, it is contentment. If it happens while you are preparing food, packing a bag, or when their usual walk time is delayed, it is frustrated anticipation. Fourth, manage demands. If they are sighing to demand attention or treats, do not reward the sigh immediately, as this can turn it into an attention-seeking behavior. Wait for them to settle, then reward their quiet, calm cooperation. Fifth, check for pain. While normal sighing is healthy, frequent, raspy, or heavy sighing combined with lethargy can point to joint pain, respiratory issues, or abdominal discomfort. If you suspect discomfort, consult your veterinarian. By learning to decode the subtle messages in their breath, you transform daily routines into moments of shared understanding. You build a sanctuary of confidence and trust for your companion. If you want more calm, science-backed canine explainers like this, consider subscribing to our channel. We unpack one dog behavior mystery at a time, helping you build a deeper, more empathetic connection with your companion. Because at the end of the day, understanding our dogs isn't just about training commands. It's about learning their quiet language of breath, rest, and patience, and honoring the simple trust they place in our care. This video is for general educational purposes. Every dog is unique. If your pet shows signs of respiratory distress, chronic lethargy, or unexplained pain, work with your vet or a certified professional to support their health.